As we have explored basic consumer APIs using REPL, now let us update the project by adding a new program into the project. So here we'll be creating a new project. Under Scala, you can actually create by right clicking on Scala and then new, and then you can say Scala class. You can change it to object, and the program name is Kafka Consumer Example, and hit enter. Now you can actually create a main function by using the template, and we have to add the logic to load the properties from application.properties so that we can connect to respective environment with respect to Kafka broker based upon where we are running. So first let us update the code with respect to config factory. I am just copy pasting this one. Click on OK so that we can import that. And then for consumer, we have to start with import java.util.properties as well as collections. We need to import these two. Okay. Once you import these two, we also need to import few classes from Kafka package, which is nothing but org.apache.kafka, and then clients, and then consumer, and then Kafka consumer along with consumer config. Okay. Now you have to create properties object val props equal to new properties, and using these props we can put multiple key and values. The first one being bootstrap server from consumer config dot bootstrap, and then value has to be using the env props, and then get string. We have to read bootstrap server, and hence I am passing bootstrap.server here, so it will actually read the appropriate property value from here. So now you can go to Kafka console or Kafka consumer example, and then we can set other properties. As we have already developed the code using REPL, we will copy paste from there. I just launched the fresh session as I have closed the earlier one. Now I can say history and get the code snippet which we have tested earlier. After setting bootstrap server's config, we have to set client ID config. So I'm setting client ID config here. After this, we have to set the key and value deserializer. So we can copy paste these things. We also need to take care of value deserializer, not just key. So let's update this to value here. And then one of the mandatory property which is not part of producer but part of consumer is nothing but group ID. So the property name is group ID config from consumer config. So let's copy paste that also. And then we can actually create consumer object by saying val consumer equal to new Kafka consumer string comma string, because those are the type of the key and value after deserializing from the log file associated with the partition with respect to a topic. As we are trying to save the keys and values as strings when we produce the messages, we are also using the same while consuming. And then you can pass props to it. We also need to import something called scala.collection, and then java conversions dot underscore. Then we can actually use appropriate APIs to convert Scala collection into Java collection, and we can iterate through it. Okay, so now we can actually go here and then subscribe to the topic by saying consumer.subscribe, And the way you can subscribe is you have to use collections, which is imported from java.util. It has a method called singleton list. And as part of that, we need to pass the topic name, which is nothing but Kafka testing. Then you can actually write while loop with a true condition, which actually keep on polling the consumer infinitely. And as part of this, we have to use consumer.poll, and we have to set the time a time interval at which we have to keep on polling the topic. So in this case, we are setting 500 as value. Okay. Then we can actually say for records.iterator, we can print the key value as well as offset. Let us copy paste the code from here. It's simple println command by concatenating with key value as well as offset. I pasted it here. Okay. Now, as we are done with while loop, we should be able to run this. However, as you guys are aware, because our application is running on IntelliJ, which is part of Windows, if we try to consume messages that are part of Kafka topic that is managed by Kafka broker on Linux, it might not work. Let's try and see if it works. If not, we'll actually go ahead and run it from the Ubuntu itself using SBT. Okay, so I'm right clicking on this, and it will fail because it takes an argument, but we haven't passed any argument to this program, and hence it will fail with array index out of bounds exception. We have to go to run edit configurations, and we have to pass the argument for the program, which is nothing but dev, then apply, then OK, and then you can right click and run. As we have infinite loop, it will struck over there, expecting messages from the topic. Now you can go to Ubuntu, and you can actually start sending messages. So I'm quitting from here, and then I'm actually using SBT run main. I want to run this program called Kafka Producer Example and see if the messages will be pushed into the topic and then consumed by the consumer. Hit enter. Now it is running SBT run main is running Kafka Producer Example with dev as argument, and it will produce the message into the topic. You will see the success message. So the message is in the topic. Now we will see whether it is consumed or not. You can see the message is not coming here. The reason is here our client is on Windows, which is trying to poll the topic that is running on Linux, and it is not working as expected. So we can kill this. Okay, and then go to Ubuntu and use the other session. Let's clear it, and let us first build the classes for the programs which we have developed, or jar file for the program which is developed, which is nothing but Kafka console consumer. Now there will be a jar file created out of these classes, and then we can actually run SBT run -main Kafka consumer example, and the argument is dev, and hit enter. Now it will keep on polling for the messages in the topic. Let's get into the other session. Once it start waiting here, now you see it actually got the key and value from the latest one, which we have pushed earlier. So even though the message is not consumed using the application from IntelliJ, now let us push more messages by running producer example multiple times, and you should be able to see the messages coming as part of the consumer program, which is run by SBT main here. So you can see the new message. Like this, you can actually consume messages using the programs also. With Windows, we have the limitation of not able to running the applications using IntelliJ IDE because it is not able to talk to the Kafka that is running on Linux. But with Ubuntu desktop or CentOS desktop or Mac OS, you should be able to run the programs directly out of IntelliJ itself. Okay, so this is how you can actually develop simple applications using consumer APIs. We have only scratched the surface with respect to APIs. As we understand topic in depth based upon all the scenarios which we have explored earlier, there are different APIs which you should be able to leverage and build a bit more complex solutions using Kafka as a messaging layer between multiple applications by developing our custom producers as well as consumers.